week we finished up our guest bathroom remodel. I'm very happy with that because we're done. That's the big thing. So I can enjoy it now and use it and not have to run around the house to use a different bathroom. So it turned out really good. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, I've got a playlist put together for that specific project. So check out my channel and just watch through those. Had a few different issues we had to overcome. So hopefully you enjoyed me trying to figure those things out. But anyway, that means I need a bit of a break. So that was a bit of a, especially last week trying to cut that granite, that was a little bit tough on my brain and everything. So I think this week we're going to take it easy, for me anyway, and do some things that I've done a lot before and just maybe something you haven't seen before. So one of my projects that I sell, I think I'm going to do some more trivets because I'm running low on those at the shop. And then I think I want to come up with a different kind of coaster. So currently my trivets, I do a fractal burn in them. Then put little feet on them, stuff like that. So that's to put your hot pots and pans in the kitchen. And then my current coasters, I round off the edge pretty well. And then with the different colors I use, like there's a blue and an orange, pink and a green, kind of give off a really 70s retro vibe. And then I've got them in like a clear coat. So those are the current ones I have. I kind of want to come up with something a little bit different. So I was thinking just like 45 of the tops, if you can see that. But I'm thinking I might want to do some stuff like that for the trivets and these. So they're all going to look very similar to this. And I think because of that, I want to change up the colors. So the colors on the coasters will be something different. Haven't decided yet, so we'll figure something cool for that. And then for trivets and stuff in the kitchen, so my charcuterie boards, the trivets, trying to think if there's anything else. Those specific things, I like to put beeswax on, like you would put on a cutting board. So I don't like to, like this one is stained and finished. This was a sample one I did. And if you know anything about people that make anything for a living, all the stuff in their house is typically the rejects and the whatever, the stuff they're trying a new thing. So the girlfriend and I have a ton of stuff that I tried to see if I could make it work in mass or just for testing purposes. So I don't like to finish these because the hot pans on the finish over time, I think is going to make it flake off. So I just use the beeswax like you would on a cutting board. So if it starts getting dry, you just reapply the wax and stuff. So if you have cutting boards and that kind of stuff, it's not too much of an issue. So it makes them go together pretty well. So, but also don't stain because that keeps the wax from absorbing into the wood. So this one is stained. I will not stain the other one. So they'll look more like that. Finish. So anyway, first stage is sand. We're going to sand these. We're going to fractal burn all of them, so they're going to have that cool little pattern in them. So a lot of people describe that as like looks like lightning or tree roots or that kind of thing. So I love to watch that. So we'll get to see that happen and knock some of these out so I can restock the shelves. So stick with me if that sounds interesting. Okay, so now that we've got the wood sanded, I like to do that first because it kind of breaks up the fibers on the surface and gets a nice smooth surface. Because after we burn this, we're not going to be able to sand it too much because the more you sand, the more of the pattern you take away. So I like to start with a nice smooth surface, break up the fibers so we can get some of the solution soaking into the wood. And I say solution because we do need to use something to carry the electric current through the wood, because wood is a really good insulator on its own, and this is kiln dried wood, so there's not a lot of moisture in it. So my solution is water and baking soda. I like to warm it up, so I think the warmer water kind of soaks into the wood a little bit better. Don't know if it does, but my brain seems to think so, so I do it. So yeah, so wherever this solution is, the current can go. So I don't like to run a lot of stuff around the edges because we're going to profile the edges and everything. So I'm just going to try to stay on the board as much as possible. It's water, so it likes to run. My bench isn't totally, flat, so sometimes it gets where it doesn't want to. Sometimes it turns out really cool. So, but anyway, we're going to throw the solution on here and let it soak in for like 10-15 minutes before you even try to burn it. So. And you'll do this several times during that 10-15 minutes. Big thing is just letting it soak in. Okay, we're gonna let that sit 10-15 minutes. I'm gonna keep soaking it throughout. And then when that's soaked in enough, I'll get the Lichtenberg machine hooked up. And we'll do some burning. That's fun to watch. So we'll see what the wood does. I think we got some nice pattern and grain in the wood. The trivet ones I think will turn out pretty good. These are pretty straight. We'll see what the burn wants to do. A lot of times it likes to follow it follows the path of least resistance. So if it's just following the grain and it's pretty straight, you'll have pretty straight burns. That's why I like this kind of swoopy edge grain where it kind of can do whatever and jump from one to the other and you get that cool little lightning pattern. So we'll let that dry. Okay, so we have let the solution soak in the wood. It's been about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna give it a try and see how it's burning. If it doesn't burn well, I'll just let it sit a little bit longer, add a little more solution. So well, we'll give it a shot anyway. This is my Lichtenberg machine. You can buy them. I like to make my own. I'm not going to tell you how everything, because if you do them wrong and you do this wrong, you could die. So forewarning, don't try this at home. It's extremely dangerous, and if you do it wrong, you could be dead. So I'm sure there's someone out there that would not like that very much. So anyway, this is for entertainment. I just kind of want to show you. It's cool to watch and everything, but it is very dangerous, so please do not try this. So.
So anyway, it gives you an idea, kind of slow, methodical. I like to move it around a lot for these smaller pieces because, we're making trivets and coasters. So the big thing is it's cool when you get a cool pattern, but it's coverage right now because when you cut it up to a small little piece, you want as much as the surface covered. And then your odds of getting a cool little pattern on one of the coasters or the trivets is much better. So I like to just do coverage on these. When it's something like a coffee pour over stand or a charcuterie board or something, I take a little more time and effort to set things up and get a cooler pattern that's kind of a one-off, not keep moving the points everywhere or the terminals everywhere. Anyway, it's kind of fun to watch. Hopefully it gives you a little idea of what fractal burning is and what it can do to the wood and everything. So I'm going to finish up the rest of these really quick or slow. It's going to do what it's going to do. So the electrical is going to burn as fast as it can, but I hope we get some cool patterns in there. I'll show you when I'm all done. And it's just going to look burned and horrible until we clean it up and then see what's underneath all the char. So got to finish these up really quick. Okay, got all the fractal burning done. I have stowed the death machine, so that's safely put away. So, and that's the result. So doesn't look super duper until we get it all cleaned up and sanded and all that kind of stuff. So next step for tonight is we're going to take these inside to my kitchen sink and scrub them underwater. Normally you would do that outside in the yard because it's super messy, but it's the middle of winter time. So I'm going to do it inside where it's warm. So I'm going to make a mess of the kitchen, but we'll scrub that. We're going to let it dry, and then you'll notice the color of the wood change. So with that baking soda in there and then the tannins in the wood stuff, you get a lot of green color in there. So after we scrub it and then we let it dry, then we throw some hydrogen peroxide on there 2 or 3 times, and that'll kind of bleach out the wood again and get rid of that green. So we got 2 more steps for tonight. So we're going to scrub them and clean them. Then we're going to peroxide them, so bleach them out, and then we're going to let them dry overnight, because then tomorrow we're going to put some, we're going to sand them, put some color on them, put the profile on them, that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're inside, just scrubbing the char out of here, getting it cleaned up. It's a little messy, but do what you got to do. So doesn't take much, but that's much better. So there's a before and there's an after. So let's knock this out. the next morning. Barely. It's almost lunchtime. Anyway, so things lightened up quite a bit. Things dried out, so it's kind of the condition of the wood right now. So it's better looking than just the charred up piece of wood we had the other day after the burn. So the cleaning up helps it quite a bit. But I think I'm gonna, as kind of an example, sand this section really quick so you can see the difference between sanding and not sanding. So you don't ever want to sand too much, but you do need to sand again because all that water and stuff and peroxide in there has really lifted the grain. So I'm going to sand again. 120 grit. If you want to do more than that, that's up to you, but I do the 120 grit because I kind of like the rusticy look. So we're going to sand that section real quick, and I'll do maybe a photo side by side of before and after so you can kind of see the difference between the two. So found a soda sitting on the shelf out here from yesterday, so I'm good to go. Let's sand some stuff. Okay, it doesn't take much to get it to where you want because you're just basically smoothing that out and knocking down that grain again. The big thing is you spend too much time there, you're going to get rid of all these little details from the fractal burning. So the longer you sand, these little details go away. And for me, that's the interesting thing. So usually when you're sanding, if you're spending more time than you want to, it's because of these big burns in there. So you notice when we were doing the burns, these are the parts that flamed up and there was actually fire coming out of there instead of just that nice little glowy burn. So I try to not do that too much because it is a bit of a pain to sand out of there. So anyway, that's what I got to do to all these boards. So let me sand them all up, and I'm going to sand the edges too because the next step is I'm going to run them through the router and route this long edge because it's easier when it's in one piece before I cut them all up into small pieces. So I'm going to sand for a while. You watched me do that last time, so maybe I'll just fast forward or just cut that out. We'll see. Okay, so got the next pass of sanding done. Next thing is I wanted to do that, knock off that corner. So just this nice little profile. So adjusted my router table, and then I always do a little test piece, and that's what I'm looking for. So let's run them through. right, so now that we've chopped up our creation into a bunch of little pieces, we need to go back over to the router station and then route the end grain edges or profiles of each one. So that's a lot of tedious stuff because we had 5 pieces or something, 6 pieces. Now we've got a plethora of pieces. So run back through and catch the end grain. So we got the side when there's all one piece. Now we just got to do the end grains on each side. So hope they don't split out when you come to the edges. So, or sorry, to the corners. So gonna set up the router and do all of those. Got a little bit of lunch in me, feeling pretty fat and happy, so let's finish this up. So we've got all the edges routed on that. Now we're gonna sand again. Yes, there's a lot of sanding for wood projects. So this is the final sand before we put color and stuff on it though. So I think for this, I usually use my orbital sanders and stuff, but sometimes the edges will get a little bit more rounded. And on these particular ones, since I got a nice 45 on them, I want nice sharp edges on them. So I think I'm going to hand sand all of these. So I got a little 220 in my sanding block, and we're just gonna ease all the edges on that whole stack over there. So this will take a while. So, you know, time lapse and listen to some nice music, so, or something. Sanding and my arms hurt. So next step, this is kind of one of those, we've treated all this the same, whether it was a trivet or whether it was a coaster, up until right now. So this is where things split, because now we're moving on to finishes. So this is just going to get beeswax, the trivet, and it's going to get little feet, so little rubber feet screwed in there. So that goes one direction for that. These are getting color, so they're going to get some kind of stain, and then they got to get a clear coat afterwards, and then they got to get a little cork base and a little brand on the bottom, and then packaged up in groups of 4. So it's a set of 4 coasters. So I'm going to recuperate from sanding because my back's killing me, and I feel all like shaky. So from the vibrating sander, that's what that's from. So, and then I'm gonna go down and look at all my stains and see what I've got that I can do these with. I think I know what I'm gonna do, but we'll see. Colors I decided on. So I was thinking of doing like a multi-pack, like my other coasters, but I wanted these to be different. So I think I'm just gonna do a single color per pack of 4. So I think I'm gonna go with this one. It is called Sun Bleached. And then you've got the raw wood here, and this is the sun bleached. So It brings out a little of the yellow of the oak, a little bit of gray. It kind of gives it a blotchy look like that, which I think is kind of cool. And that'll look kind of cool with the Fractal Burn in there. So we're going to make half of these sun bleached. And I kind of picked the ones that had the lighter, more delicate burns in them. And then for this other one, it's worn navy, super popular color for my dice towers and trays. These ones went first, so everything in this blue or worn navy. So there's kind of a sample of that. So pretty dark, and I picked kind of the heavier burns on these ones. So half blue and half sun bleached. So I'm gonna stain those, and you're gonna watch. Hopefully you enjoy it. So play some music or something. Okay, it's next morning. We got color on all of our coasters, and we set our trivets off to the side to work on some stuff later. So looked like everything dried really well. That was our sun bleached color. We did about half of those. I was going to do the other half in that worn navy, but I can't remember if I filmed it or not. But I opened the can, and it was an older can, and it had separated and something solidified in there. So I kind of was risking it by finishing these, and it made me a little bit nervous. So I did a few, and then I grabbed another, it was like green meadow or something like that, one that I don't use a whole lot. So figured I'd do a different color on those in case those didn't turn out, because you'd hate half of your stuff to not turn out. So everything looks like it's pretty dry. That dried up pretty good, so I'm not sure what's solidified in there, but we'll see how those finish. They feel pretty good though. So it's morning, so let's get some finish on there, give it some time to dry, so we can get hopefully 2 coats of finish on there today, and then we put corks and stuff on tomorrow morning, everything, and finish those up. So let's get to work. Okay, while we're letting those coasters dry, we just got the first coat on those. We're gonna move on to the trivets. So the trivets get a different finish, and they get little rubber feet rather than cork bottoms like the coasters do. So let's work on those while those are drying. right, it is the next morning. We've just been given the coasters some time to dry with that final coat. I was able to get 2 clear coats on them yesterday, so we're just letting them dry up so we can affix the corks to the back of them and kind of package them up and get them ready for sale. So let me show you where we are. So that's what we ended up with. Half of them are in that weathered oak, and then we'll see if we have an issue with those. I don't think so. They dried really well, so I think they're in good shape. And then because I wasn't sure about these or this color, we went with I think it's green meadow or something like that. Reminds me of cut grass, so we did some that way. So we just need to stick the cork backing on them. I pre-branded a few. I throw one of those per 4, so it's on the bottom of the bundle. You'll see that when we package it all up. So let's get the corks on the back, get them all packaged up, and put them with their buddies inside the trivets, because they're done and ready to go. So let's do that and we'll close out the video. Okay, so I think I'm going to call a wrap on this project because it is done. So nothing more to do. We made some trivets for your hot pots and pans, and then we made some coasters. So remember, the trivets were just finished in butcher block oil or wax or whatever you want to use on those. So that's what I use for most of my kitchen stuff. Put the little feet on them, the little brand on there, and the cool little fractal pattern. So I like the new bezel that we did on there. Let's show that up front closer. So like how those turned out. And then we tried some new colors and stuff for the coasters. And then I really like the blue, so just a little presentation on those. I think those turned out pretty good, and nice little set of 4. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching me or following along in the project and stuff, just kind of seeing how detailed you get into making something that looks pretty simple. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you would, mash all the buttons, like, share, subscribe, all that usual stuff, and appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.